Welcome to another car review for your growing family. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel on the bottom right for brand new reviews every single week. But here is the all-new 2020 Mercedes GLS 450. And with the new BMW X7 out, there's a new Navigator, new Escalade, new Tahoe. They have rammed this full of brand new luxurious features and lots of tech. Plus, it's a pretty sweet family ride if you've got six figures to spend. I want to show you all about it. It's the 2020 Mercedes GLS 450 this week on Family Wheels. So this third generation is all new for 2020. It's the most expensive SUV that Mercedes sells, aside from the coveted G-Wagon, of course. It's a re-engineered platform. It's got a longer, wider wheelbase, more interior passenger space and legroom, which is great for families. It's got two brand new engine options. It kind of looks like a cross between the old GL and the GLE, which this shares a platform with, or maybe like the second generation GL stopped exercising and ate all of the pies. Either way, elevated luxury, elevated tech. It's also got captain's chairs for the very first time in the back there. You've got two variants. You've got the GLS 450, which is this one, and you've also got the 580. And there's also the GLS 63 AMG coming out in the summer of 2020. That's as a 2021 model, and that's going to have around 603 horsepower. Those two engine options, let's get to those. So first of all, you've got the inline turbocharged 3-litre 6-cylinder, which is in this one. This is putting out 363 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, which is plenty. But if you want to, just for the hell of it, you can go for the bi-turbo 4-litre V8, putting out 483 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. They do have the same towing capacity though, which is 3,500 kilograms or around 7,700 pounds, which is pretty good, by the way. If you're buying this, I mean, what are you towing? I guess your yacht, several jet skis. Really fun toys. They're both bolted to the 9-speed automatic transmission, which has got paddle shift if you want it. It does have a little bit more towing capacity than the BMW X7 though, but not quite as much as things like the QX80, the Navigator, and the new Tahoe. And you've also got, this is a mild hybrid system, so it's called EQ Boost. So it's a low voltage battery, which gives you a little bit sort of on takeoff, not from standstill, but once you get going a little bit, it's pretty seamless. You really don't even notice it, but it certainly helps out with a little bit of fuel economy when you're getting off the mark. And fuel economy isn't too bad, to be honest. So it's 11.2 litres per 100 combined. And in miles per gallon, it's 19 for the city and 23 for the highway. Not disastrous, not fantastic. It's actually a little bit better than the Navigator and the Escalade. You've also got, as standard, the 4MATIC fully variable all-wheel drive system, which has been around for a while, tried and tested. Let's check out inside the cabin how this works for families. So you've got increased legroom for the second row by about 87 millimeters, which is really decent. That's because of that longer, wider wheelbase that they put on this third generation. So in the trunk, let's start with our standardized trunk test. Stroller, 2 grocery bags, camera gear, soccer ball. It's pretty tight actually. Behind that third row, it's about 355 litres, which is about 12.5 cubic feet. I used the umbrella stroller on this occasion. If you do have the full-size stroller where you want the proper infant seat on it, it's going to be reasonably tight back there. If you put down that third row, then you get up to about 1,360 litres or about 48 cubic feet. If you do happen to put second and third rows down, you're getting about 2,400 litres of space, but how often do you really seem to do that? By the way, that third row, it does have the really easily accessible child anchor seats as well. If you do want to put some booster seats back there, that third row, you can put it up and down electronically at the back there. So you've got on one side of the trunk, you've got the ones to do the third row, and then the other side, if you want, you've got the second row. Now, with these captain's chairs, to get into that third row there, you do just pop a bottom on the top of it and it will come through automatically as well. It does take a little bit of time. If you're getting in and out all the time, it might take a bit to just pop through the middle of these captain's chairs. If you do happen to have the captain's chairs, it's pretty slow. And then when you put it down, you have to actually keep your finger on it till it gets all the way down. I guess that's to prevent anyone's leg getting, in the way for having to put it down. It's just a safety feature. But according to the measurements, that third row legroom is about 34.6 inches, which is actually pretty decent. But considering, I guess, you have got just 2 seats and everything's pretty close in around you. By the way, the headspace isn't too bad. It does feel a bit cramped in. So for me to be back there, I had to push, I guess that 34.6 inches is with that second row pushed a decent amount forward. And then the second row here has up to 41.9 inches. So you are driving in supreme comfort. I'd even say that like the best seat in the house is back here. If you do have our rear facing kids seat test, you've got oodles of space. When it's rear facing, the front passenger has plenty of room. I'm 6 feet tall and I would have been comfortable for a long range car trip, no problem. And then what I love about this when I put my kids in front facing of how much space they've got, this sits really low. It's got the airlift suspension from standard and it sits at a really nice low position. So with that step rail on the outside too, the kids can step up, get themselves into that footwell, plenty of room, get themselves into their own seat. And then it is low enough if I'm strapping my son into the booster seat there, I can just pop my knee up on the floor. You've also got, on this one, it's got a package which has the rear sunshades, which is very useful if you happen to have a little baby back there, you need to keep the sun out of their face while they are sleeping. And this panoramic sunroof is standard, lets in so much beautiful light. It's one of the things that I really enjoy about this car too. Up front, you are just surrounded by lots of luxurious features, and let me show them to you. You've got things like when you've got the heated seat on, which you can adjust in your infotainment system here where you want it to be. It also does the side panel and the center console too. So you are beautifully warmed up. Heated steering wheel also. Lots of storage in here for the families too. The door trims, the tubs front and back, lots of space, water bottles, extra things. This center console, which has more USB, has got plenty of room. You've got wireless charging down here for your phone. The glove box is a decent size. You've also got heated and cooled beverage holders here. You press it once and it goes to cooling, you press it again, it goes to heating, and they actually go quite cold and quite warm as well if you want that type of thing. It's got the Burmester premium sound system. Excellent system. You've also got the option for about a 27 speaker system, which seems like a bit of overkill because this one's certainly good enough. You've got multiple zones of climate control in here. So this is the latest edition of the MBUX, or the Mercedes-Benz user experience. Two 12.3-inch screens, which the steering wheel kind of goes between the middle of it, so it looks like one big long one. And the ways you can adjust it, I mean, you can do it with touchscreen, your trackpad down here, which is very, very accurate and very precise. You can even do it on your steering wheel if you chop it in half. This size with the little trackpads does your dash. This size does your infotainment system. And then, of course, you also have the voice activation too through Hey Mercedes. So if you're just using Hey Mercedes,
how can I help you?
Turn on heated steering wheel.
Okay, I'm switching on the steering wheel heating.
And you can do pretty much anything in this system using that. You could even do, Hey Mercedes,
how can I help you?
Navigate home.
The route is being calculated.
This also has the augmented navigation. So when that does come up, it'll split your screen here and it will have your map on one side and then your camera through the top up here on the other side, and it will have your street signs pop up. It even gives you the number of the buildings and the houses. It's really good. The only thing I don't like, this does have the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I've always found that the search feature on the others is so much more superior. So with Google Maps, you can just do, take me to the corner of blah, 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 and blah, 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 and it just comes up straight away. Whereas this one, you can't even do, I went to a park the other day and I wanted to do via that, the name of the park, and it didn't know it. You got to give it the street address, which is a little bit annoying. Sirius XM, which is totally cool. Your Bluetooth connectivity is very precise. All the USB outlets are the USB 3, so you'll need an adapter if you've still got the old school one, or just buy yourself a new one, because if you're spending on this car, you've probably got the money for it. But the seats are so comfortable. It's awesome. You could even get massage seats as an option, which is really expensive, and this one doesn't have it. All right, let's hit the road in this and see how it goes. So the first thing you always got to get used to in these, which I don't love on the Mercedes, is the gear lever being up there. I would rather that be for the windscreen wipers. However, it's rain sensing wipers anyway, so I guess it's slightly obsolete. You've got your dynamic settings down here, so you can go from comfort, eco, you can do off-road as well. Now, having the airlift suspension, when you do go to off-road, it will automatically raise the car. You've got another setting where if you do go below, I think it's about 30k an hour, it will bring it down just in case you're going to drop someone off. That's a nice, cool little setting that you probably won't use ever in your life. But it's also got sport, and by the way, sport in this particular car, it's one that you can end up driving in for a lot of the time. Sometimes when you've got sport, they're really highly strung, but on this one, it was reasonably comfortable still to drive around the city in sport all the time. Let's have a bit of a go off the line here. So I'm going to put it in sport. I'm not going to use the paddles, and just, whoa, you can feel that tiny bit of turbo lag. Then when it pops in, it really does take off. You don't need any more than that for this car. Any more, if you want the V8, by all means, but this has certainly got plenty of horsepower for you. And for a car this big, you're not feeling any bumps on the road. This has got a package that's got the dampened suspension on it, so for a car this size, it handles absolutely beautifully, and the cabin noise is at an absolute minimum too. So they've jam-packed this full of amazing driver assistance, but also safety technology as well. And I want to show you some of these. So it's got active lane keeping assist, but also active steering assist. So if you put your adaptive cruise control on, I'll set that. And then your lane keeping on this is terrific. Like, you can't even see it making the small adjustments. It is so smooth. And it'll even take slight corners for you, just like that. It's awesome. And then if you got your lane departure warning too, so if you happen to go outside, it'll throw you back in the middle, just like, not throw you back, but it's certainly, you can feel it, it's very noticeable. It's also got a really cool car wash feature, which I used just yesterday. So when you're going into a car wash, you'll press that, it'll do things like make sure your door is shut, your windows are closed, your sunroof is closed, it will turn off the rain sensing wipers, and it will pull your mirrors in and everything to go through the car wash. And then when you come out the other side, you don't have to turn it off. When you get to about 20 or 30 Ks an hour, it will just turn it off and pop all your mirrors out and everything. How much is this car going to cost you though? Well, it's going to be a little bit. So for the GLS 450, this one, it starts at $95,500. In the US, it's $76,000 for the 450. Now, as tested, this one, it's got a couple of packages. It's got the premium package. It's also got the sport package. That's got some AMG stuff, like just a few details, but also the adaptive damping and the 21-inch rims. And it's got the intelligent drive package. So this one, total, as tested, $106,690. So that's the all-new 2020 Mercedes GLS 450. Hopefully you found this review useful. If you have, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel because we put out brand new reviews every single week. Until next time, from Family Wheels, I'm Kai.